Silence means weakness. But you know better, don't you? You've seen what happens when people talk too much. They reveal their fears, their flaws, their need to be accepted. But you've learned the truth. The less they hear from you, the more they wonder what you're thinking.
Have you ever said something and immediately wished you could take it back? Maybe you were in an argument, trying to defend yourself. Maybe you were in a conversation, trying to impress someone. Maybe you were just speaking your mind, thinking honesty was strength. But as the words left your mouth, something shifted. A glance, a reaction, a silence. And in that moment, you realized you had given something away. You've been taught that words are your greatest tool, that the more you explain, the more people will understand you, that the more you talk, the more control you have. What if, in reality, power belongs to those who say the least? Have you ever walked away from a conversation replaying everything you said, wondering if you should have said less? Did you ever notice how, the more you explain yourself, the more people seem to question you? We talk because we think words give us control, that if we say enough, we can change minds, win arguments, or prove our worth. We think that silence is dangerous because if we don't speak, we might be misunderstood. But have you ever considered that speaking too much does the opposite? The more you talk, the more you reveal your thoughts, your emotions, your insecurities. And the more you reveal, the more power you give away. Now, think about the people who command the most respect. Are they the ones who flood every conversation with words? Or are they the ones who say little, but when they do, people listen? Words don't always make you stronger. Sometimes they make you predictable, and predictability is weakness. Have you ever noticed how the people who talk the most are rarely the ones in control? How the loudest voices in the room are often the easiest to ignore. We think words will make us heard, but the more we speak, the less impact each word has. The more we explain, the more we invite doubt. The more we try to prove ourselves, the more we show our need for validation. Now, ask yourself, when was the last time you truly listened to someone who wouldn't stop talking? When was the last time endless words changed your mind? The truth is, the more you say, the more power you give away. And the ones who understand this, they don't fight to be heard. They make silence work for them. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone said very little, yet their presence felt stronger than everyone else's? Silence is uncomfortable for most people. We rush to fill it, thinking it makes us look confident, intelligent, or engaged. But in reality, silence holds more power than any words you could say. Think about the last time someone paused before responding to you. Didn't it make you lean in, wondering what they were about to say? That's the power of silence. It creates tension, and tension creates influence. We assume that to be respected, we need to talk more. But the truth is, the more you talk, the more common your words become. And the more common they are, the less impact they have. Those who understand this don't speak just to be heard. They speak when it truly matters. But silence isn't just about saying less. It's about controlling the space between words. Ever been in a conversation where someone barely spoke, yet their presence felt impossible to ignore? They didn't rush to fill the silence. Instead, they allowed the moment to breathe. That's the thing about silence. It's not empty. It carries weight. When you hold back, people start to wonder what's on your mind, and in that curiosity, you gain influence. Now, think about someone who constantly talks, trying to fill every silence. Their words lose significance, don't they? The more they speak, the less they're heard. But those who understand don't fight for attention. They make their words valuable by saying just enough when it truly matters. Now, think about the people you've respected the most in your life. Were they the ones who dominated conversations, or the ones who made you feel like their words mattered? When someone speaks less, they control the flow. They create an environment where every word feels intentional. And when words are chosen carefully, they carry weight. They don't need to be repeated. Silence isn't awkward if you understand its purpose. It's not about avoiding conversation or retreating into yourself. It's about owning the space, allowing others to speak, and watching them reveal their true selves. Ever noticed how you're more likely to listen to someone who speaks with intention? The person who doesn't feel the need to over-explain or oversell their thoughts. The truth is, silence reveals strength. It shows that you're comfortable with what's unspoken. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You already know it. And when you know your worth, you don't have to fight for it. When you stop scrambling for validation through words, you free yourself from the need to prove anything. Your silence becomes a powerful tool, one that doesn't need explanation. The most powerful people are often the ones who say the least, yet their influence is undeniable. When you learn to embrace silence, you start to see the world differently. Conversations become more about understanding than winning. You stop feeling the need to talk over others, and instead, you listen. Silence allows you to observe, really observe. You hear not just the words being spoken, but the emotions behind them, the intentions, the unspoken truths. People don't always say what they mean, but silence gives you the space to read between the lines, to grasp the real message. And that's when you truly begin to understand others. The act of listening becomes more valuable than speaking. Those who master silence don't just hear. They understand. They don't just respond. They choose their words with intention, making each one count. The more you speak, the more opportunities you give for misinterpretation, for unnecessary conflict. But when you choose silence, you hold all the cards. You control the narrative without ever having to force it. This isn't to say that silence is always the answer, but in moments of tension, uncertainty, or when you simply don't need to speak, it's your greatest ally. It makes your presence felt without a single word leaving your lips. You don't have to compete for attention. You don't need to be the loudest voice. Silence forces respect. It speaks volumes without making a sound. And when you speak, your words are heard, valued, and remembered. Because when you've mastered silence, every word you choose becomes that much more impactful. Have you ever noticed how the people who share everything don't seem as intriguing? When you reveal too much, you leave no room for others to wonder, to be curious about you. You expose your vulnerabilities, your intentions, and your plans, making it easier for others to use that information against you. Mystery is a valuable asset. The less you share, the more people are left to wonder what you're thinking, what you know, and what you might do next. It's in this space of curiosity that your true influence grows. Oversharing also dilutes the value of your words. When you speak too much, your words lose their weight. You become predictable. People stop listening to every word you say because they've already heard everything. The element of surprise is lost. and the impact of your communication diminishes. Have you ever felt ignored after saying too much? It's important to be strategic with what you reveal. Keep certain thoughts, feelings, and intentions to yourself. Let people know you, but not everything about you. When you master the art of saying less, you don't just create an air of mystery. You create an aura of authority, strength, and control. People will pay attention not because you're constantly sharing, but because what you share matters. True strength lies in control, and silence is one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. But what happens when your silence is misunderstood? When your silence is mistaken for weakness, and others begin to take advantage of you because you won't speak up? Knowing when to stay quiet is powerful, but knowing how to protect yourself from being exploited is even more crucial.